I say boom, boom, boom. Now everybody say way-oh, way-oh.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Shine a Light podcast. Today we are back with episode number 11. We're really rolling through these now, and it's time for another Footy Talk podcast. Lionel Messi could be on the move, Harry Maguire has been arrested, Ben Chilwell has signed for Chelsea, and much, much more. Today, we're diving into a lot. We're talking about the England squad, we're talking about some of the latest deals, we're talking transfer rumours, and of course, the best and worst of football Twitter. Now, before we start, go subscribe. I'm starting to plug these channels more now. Now I've got into a rhythm, so start subscribing, start liking. Let's smash this stuff and get to 100 subs as quickly as we possibly can. Yes, it's a second channel, but I still need you to sub. So let's dive into it and start talking. I think there's only one place to start. We mentioned him last week, or we spoke about 5 minutes in a segment on him, but Lionel Messi is the man of the hour at the moment. And I think Ronald Koeman has to take a fair bit of responsibility. I mean, from what I understand, Koeman said this: as soon as he steps in the door, first convo with Messi, you're not going to have the privileges and the leverage that you've had in the past at Barcelona. For a legendary player who is their most experienced at the club, their greatest player in history, you walk in and say that when he's still a top player, you're playing with fire. Now, this may be the tactic that he wants to go by, that he's wanting to lay down the law early and make it his club rather than Messi's club, as we've seen with managers in the past, which could work as a good strategy. However, due to the current situation at Barcelona, where the squad really isn't that good, I am concerned for them that they just won't have enough quality. You look at the likes of Suarez, and even Messi to an extent, are starting to age. Busquets, Alba, Piqué, they're not the players they once were, and there isn't quite as much structure as there has been in previous occasions when a player like Xavi or Iniesta has left. There's a lot less in terms of a real core to the team. We've got a few players, there's a few, but the core is a bit lacking. Because I say you've got Ter Stegen, Lenglet, Dembele, not Dembele, De Jong and Griezmann maybe, if you can say Griezmann is a key player, who are 4 core players. The 3 of them I'm convinced on. Griezmann, I don't know. Ter Stegen has had rifts in the past with Messi and could get the armband if it came down to it. It'd be between him, Piqué and Busquets. I would assume, as I don't see Jordi Alba as a captain personally. So that'd be interesting to see. It'll be interesting. Does he start to really cut a lot of senior Barca players? Are we going to see Piqué go? Are we going to see Busquets go? Are we going to see Alba go? It could be the end of an era for Barcelona as the final players of that early Guardiola period start to leave the club. I mean, some of them have been here for ages. But the next question, we spoke about it last week, but who are the current favourites to sign Messi? Now, in the number 1 spot, well, not in the number 1 spot, in the side spot, Barcelona still have a shot at keeping him. He's not gone yet, and we've seen in the past Messi may just be trying to force his hand at the moment, so we don't know exactly what he's playing, what kind of end result he's trying to get, but it is going to be unnerving for them. I think my personal favourite right now is Manchester City. They have the financial beings for it. They've sold players already, like Sané's left the club, not quite the same player. And I think there's also players amongst their squad that he'd like him to link up with. I mean, Messi and De Bruyne would be crazy to see as a combo. I don't know. It would just be a mental duo. I think they'd link up really, really well. And Aguero is obviously very, very good friends with Messi, which is a huge, not the opposite to a huge stepping stone for the team, in that Aguero is going to be in Messi's ear come to City. And it's not as if they have a poor squad. They're yes, they had the issue with Leon, but they're a strong team. They've got quality players across the pitch. I see no reason why he wouldn't sign that. And plus, Guardiola's there, so he's reuniting with old friends, which never seems to end badly in many cases. Second favourites? Probably PSG. PSG, just because of the fact that they have the biggest bank budget. If anybody can spend big, it's them. Neymar's them, and we know he's previously had a good relationship. They made it all the way to the final. They only need one further step to win at the Champions League. Maybe Messi can make that difference. And to be honest, if Ronaldo can't push Juve to win the Champions League, but Messi can push PSG to win it, does that put Messi above Ronaldo in legacy status? That is something big to consider, both with a PSG or a City move. Does he go to a team where he can win a Champions League before Ronaldo? Because Ronaldo's already done it at 2 clubs. He's done it at United, he's done it at Real Madrid. Messi's only done it at Barca, so is there a toss-up there as to who's better? Obviously, Ronaldo also has the international trophies over him, so there's a lot to consider in that respect. That does Messi want to go somewhere where he can pick up that trophy that will give him the edge right at the end? It'll be interesting to see there. But we'll say number 3. Number 3, I still think Inter Milan have a good chance. I think there's a high possibility that Inter could be a good place for him to go. They're an up-and-coming team. They've got good players. Eriksen, Martinez, Lukaku, Handanovic, Godin, Skriniar. They have a really strong core to them, and he can finally get his revenge on Brozovic, I suppose. But they have a really strong core, a really strong squad combined, and a few more good signings that they've done already, and they could be a potentially severely challenging squad. Apologies, I'm drinking so much now, just really dry lips, but the next one we're going to talk, Ben Chilwell. Now, I'm very, very happy to see this move going ahead. Ben Chilwell is headed to Chelsea. 50 million is no cheap price, but I'm happy with the move. Alonso, people have been questioning for a while. Emerson, he's a good backup, but I don't know whether he's the quality to quite be our top man. Chilwell is a proven quality left-back at Leicester. There's no reason why he can't bring that talent one step further over to Chelsea. And the rebuild is so, as people are saying, it's like Abramovich's playing career mode. Maybe he is. He's just one of them, and that's my shopping. Stick it in the grocery. But you've got to say, we've got Havertz rumoured, we've got Silva rumoured, possibly Malang Sarr as well as rumoured. So many rumours and deals going through at the club. It's exciting times at Stamford Bridge. Am I happy with the move? I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. There could still be some issues. I believe he's got a slight knock on his heel, is it? I think it's his heel. He has a slight knock on, so there could be concerns there as to things getting worse. Hopefully that's not the case, but you never know. So that could be one point of caution. 50 million also isn't cheap, but you compare it to Maguire. I mean, that's a fair comparison point. If Chilwell can be with us for 5, 6, 7, 8 years as a quality player, he's not old, that I believe would make him a very, very strong investment. Now, more on Leicester. Jamie Vardy extends his contract till 2023. I'm pleased for him. I don't really have any feelings either way for Vardy. I'm not an avid Leicester supporter. I'm not an avid Leicester hater. I mean, Vardy, I think he's made the right move here. Obviously, he made a great move in creating legend status for himself. He's going to go down as a Premier League legend. Not just for that season. He's got the most goals in a certain number of games in a row. I believe that was 13 or 11. 13 or 11, I can't remember, beating out Van Nistelrooy. He's broken records, he's become a Leicester cult hero, and if he sticks around till he's 36 at the club, that is truly impressive. And if he can stay on top of winning the Golden Boot at 33 is highly impressive. It can't be understated how good that is. And do I think he's the man to keep pushing them forward? At the moment, yes. I see no reason to swap out a man that's winning you the Golden Boot for anybody else. There's no reason why he can't continue to bring forward those results and continue to bring forward that sort of success. So I'm excited to see what he can do in the future. Hopefully he doesn't drop off, because I'd love to see him around. He's an exciting, quick player for another few years. Very cheeky as well, very cheeky. But he's an exciting player that I'd love to see in the Premier League for at least a few more years. And it looks as if we may just get our wishes fulfilled. But this all brings us through to one question. Are Leicester going to be competitive next season? Vardy is ageing, Chilwell has left, Maguire's left recently, or a couple of years back. Are they going to be able to remain competitive? They're flogging at players. However, they brought in 130 million on those two deals alone. There's another good bit of bank on Mahrez, another good bit of bank on Kante. They've got more cash than any other team around them, and they seem to be able to keep developing stars. And maybe this can be the turnover this time around, where they can dig their heels in and build a quality side where they have enough finance to pull that sort of deal through. Because they still have quality players in the squad. You've got Pereira. Schmeichel won't leave because he's a bit too old, but he's still a quality player that can remain their keeper. I mean, he's been a stalwart for like 7, 8... I think he's been there since like 2011 or something, Schmeichel, so he's certainly not going anywhere. Pereira as a right back. Soyuncu is looking very, very promising. His value is skyrocketed as of recent. Even players that haven't quite come through that, like Chowdhury. And then you've got the midfield duo of Yuri Tielemans and James Maddison, Jamie Vardy up front. Even someone like Jose Perez, some of the deals they've made are really, really good. Like the move to Perez, I think, yes, he's not quite a world-class player, but he was always a little sneaky lad at Newcastle, always bringing out quality and a good number of goals and assists. And he's continued to do that kind of behind the striker role, or secondary striker role. And I think they've made really astute signings. I think Brendan Rodgers is a really good manager. And I think the likes of Perez and maybe likes of James Justin, who hasn't quite shown his quality yet, I think they're proving that they can continue to rebuild this squad over and over. And I just hope that it doesn't fall apart in the end, is what I'll say. And do I think they'll be competitive next season? I don't think they'll be able to keep up with the top 3. I think they might be able to keep up with Manchester United. And we don't know what Spurs are. Arsenal is looking a hot mess, as usual. Spurs are in a decline at the moment, so I reckon maybe they could beat them. And then whether Wolves or Sheffield or Everton can be competitive in the season upcoming, I don't know. I would say United and Wolves probably their biggest threats. I reckon 5th place is probably most likely, with Wolves coming in 7th, probably a Spurs 6th is probably what I would anticipate happening. I can't make any bold calls, but that's what I would probably put my money on. I think they'll be competitive, but not quite at the top. I think they can make a good European run as well. There's no reason why they don't have the quality there. If they can out Sevilla, who've won like 5 or 6 now, a ridiculous number they've pulled through. So I think they can have continued success, and I wish that they do. They're a fairy tale team, what they've brought their club up to, and hopefully they don't get relegated anytime soon. Hopefully they keep it going. But back to transfer talks, with a couple more deals to work through in a little bit more quick-fire fashion. First up, Eberechi Eze, probably the second best deal of the week behind Chilwell. So, Eberechi Eze, very, very highly touted, I believe 8 goals and 6 assists or something in the Championship last season. Big impact on QPR, pulling them from relegation stricken to mid-table. Had a huge impact, and QPR. West Brom does not show. I've written West Brom here, but I'm convinced he was QPR. So I think they beat out the team that bought them, Crystal Palace, beat out West Brom to signing him. I've written my notes wrong here. He left from QPR, made a huge impact on the team. Very, very big defender, big attacking midfielder, very strong on the ball, very aggressive in the box, and I think will be an exciting and skillful player for Crystal Palace in the upcoming seasons. The interesting one about this, 40 million is not too expensive. Actually, I think that's a pretty good steal for a player that really could sell for 30, 40, 50 in the future. Is this the end of Wilfried Zaha? Is he going to be Zaha's replacement? Is the big question I think that's going to be on everyone's mouths. We're going to see the dominoes start to roll here. And is Eze's move to Palace going to be the move that pushes out Zaha? And if so, where? Arsenal have been long fans of him. Maybe Manchester United could push back in for a move. Maybe someone like a PSG, they tend to swoop in for a mid-table Premier League top player like an Idrissa Gueye we've seen in the past. Johan Cabaye we've seen happen. I wouldn't be shocked by either of them or under Herrera. So I think there are certainly places for him to go if Zaha leaves. The difficulty with Zaha is paying his fee, and just teams don't value him as highly as Palace and Hodgson do, which has made for a real stumbling block when there's just no meshing of interest whatsoever, and that has been a real problem in the past. And I'm excited for Eze. I'm excited for Eze, and I'd love to see what he can do, and I'm excited to see if he can come into the England team at one point. I don't think he'll be ready for Euro 2021. However, World Cup 2022, I'm not taking off the cards. I know we've got Maddison, I know we've got Grealish, I know we've got Foden, I know we've got Mount, but I think he could challenge up in those groups. I think, like Grealish, he can impress at a small team, and I would like to see him in the England team, or at least being given some opportunities in the future to get a few appearances in, because I think he's a top player and can be in the future. Another attacking mid whose career is going quite the opposite way. Not a confirmed deal, but a courting. Everton are coming close to another signing, or I say another signing, another rumour. They've been rumoured with Doucouré, they've been rumoured with Allen. The latest is James Rodriguez. They tend to be picking on players who are having trouble at the moment, which is interesting whether it's them or the club. James has obviously had issues with Real, really hasn't been the fan favourite of any manager at the club, and has been seeking a move out for a little while. I don't believe he went out on loan this season, and they're probably able to get him for a cut price of around 35 million, which in my eyes would be a steal. Their current man, Gylfi Sigurdsson, has not performed in recent season, and you actually look at the Everton side, they did not have a consistent lineup whatsoever, especially in the midfield. And looking at their team, both Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin got 15 goals each in all competitions last season. A player just in behind the pair of them could make a real big impact to push them up to 20, 25 goals a season. And then if you can have a 40 to 50 goal duo right there added to James, you have got an attacking front three that, regardless of what is going on across the pitch, already is putting you in a good starting position and would be hopefully what they can build on as a starting squad, because Richarlison is superb, James is superb, Calvert-Lewin is proving himself and could end up in the England setup one day, and combine that with players that could improve, like Tom Davies, Debaman, Digne. They've got the basics of a squad. They just need to put it together and mesh it into one to bring that Everton that we knew from 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years ago now. And once again, hopefully they do. Just not enough to challenge Chelsea. As long as you don't challenge Chelsea, I'm happy for you to be at the top of your game. We like a challenge, just don't beat the Blues. Don't beat the Blues. But our final moves, we've got Hector Bellerin being offered to PSG. Another courting right here. 25 million is what he's valued at around, although I reckon maybe it'll be a bit more for the style of player that he is and the impact he can make on the team. I wouldn't be surprised to see this move go through. I think there's maybe a 7 out of 10 likeliness on this, to be honest. I mean, PSG have just gotten rid of Meunier, who's headed over to Borussia Dortmund. So they're going to be looking for a right back. They're going to be looking for somebody to fill that spot. I see no reason why Bellerin wouldn't want to head there. If Arsenal can get a fair bit of cash from him, that could work out well. And maybe they're looking to go to a 3-back style with the likes of Chambers, Socrates and Mustafi all playing at the same time. I don't know exactly what Arteta's playing at, but clearly, if Arteta doesn't need him, they can get good bank for him, sell him on. I think that could be a win-win for all parties. If I was Bellerin, I wouldn't want to stay at the Gunners, to be honest. To put it bluntly, I wouldn't stay at the Gunners, so leaving seems like an excellent move in my eyes. And that is all the big deals going on. We also have Rodrigo, who's headed to Leeds. Not a lot going on there. Do I think he can make the difference and be a key player in their survival? I'm going to say no. I think he's going to be a player that's come across from a foreign league into a newly promoted team that's just not going to hit it off well. Think of Wesley last season. I think it could be another issue like that, where he's just not going to hit the ground running, not make the impact, going to get frozen out of the team, and could be an expensive mistake for Leeds. I reckon Leeds will stay up, but I reckon this could be an expensive mistake, to say the least. Now, on to our second topic of the day, and that's a squad reaction. Let's talk about the England squad. I picked 5 players that have been put in the squad that I'm questioning whether should be there and others are too, and 5 players that aren't in the squad that many are saying should be. So, let's kick it off by resetting the cameras and talk about what is going on with this England squad. Many people have criticised Southgate actually for the decisions he has made. Am I going to go out and criticise? No. Southgate did an excellent job at Euro 2018, World Cup 2018, taking us to the semis. Yes, some may say we had an easy route, but you know what? You take what you're given, you make the best of it, and Southgate did exactly that. Do I think this is the time to experiment? Yes and no. Yes, this is the time of year to experiment. No, because of the fact that due to current situations, everybody is out of touch and everybody's not really fresh and snappy and quite where they should be. So I'm torn on to whether the decisions are correct to make such interesting squad calls. We're going to start with who is in the squad. And the first man I'm going to talk about is Danny Ings. Now this one is quite an easy one. Some may say, oh, he doesn't deserve to be there. He's flopped when he's been at big teams. But I think he had a great season with Southampton this year. He deserves this spot in the team, and I think he's earned it perfectly well. He's had some good performances, especially in the second half of the year, making a big impact in the side. And arguably a key factor, think back at the beginning of the year, they were possible relegation candidates. So big improvement there in my eyes from Danny Ings. I think Southampton's season will have a big factor as to whether he can get in the Euro 2021 spots. There's not many positions left, because you add in Rashford, Sterling, Sancho and Kane, who unless injuries kick in, will be in the squad. And you have to say, there's only 1 or 2 spots left. Ings, at the moment, takes one. But if somebody else, like a Greenwood or an Abraham, comes in with better form in the current or in the upcoming season, Ings will be the man to lose his spot in the team. Our second man, Calvin Phillips. Calvin. I like this move. I like this play by Southgate a lot. He's saying a lot of things here. First up, he's saying, we are not going to be buoyed by having championship players. We're going to see a championship player. We're going to stick them in our side. We're not afraid to take risks on players and have faith in alternative options. And Phillips is the perfect man to go and take a choice of that. I remember in the past, championship players have been picked and maybe they weren't quite the right men. I remember Jake Bothroyd being picked for a couple of England games at one stage, or at least being in the squad. But Calvin Phillips, CDM spot, we don't have a whole lot of depth. We've got Henderson, we've got Rice, Fabian Delph. But I think this is the spot that it needs to be made in. And I think Calvin Phillips, he's coming up to the Premier League as well. He's looking very, very strong. Beasley has made such an excellent player out of him. And I see no reason why he can't be awesome in the team. And I'd like to see him get some game time. Maybe against Iceland more than Denmark. But I'd like to see him get some game time. I reckon he's earned it. He was one of Leeds' best players last season. Eric Dyer, though. Eric Dyer's a tough one. Cult hero in the respect that he was the man that beat off Colombia with the penalty. However, I'm not solely convinced on him. To be honest with you, I mean, Spurs having a poor season never helps. Dyer didn't exactly stand out and scream as I'm the player trying to save the ship. Didn't really notice him at all. Yes, he's one of the more experienced players in the England setup at the moment. However, I think there are other players that can bring experience without bringing the quality of the squad down. That being said, I don't see why Dyer can't get back into the Euro 2021 team if he can improve his performances in the coming year. So there's opportunity in my eyes for Dyer to get back in what he deserves to be in the squad. But for the moment, I would take Calvin Phillips. I know it's a controversial call, but I'm going to back it up. Now, Jordan Pickford, our fourth man to talk about. Jordan's a tough one. Jordan is a tough one because here's the thing. He's a quality keeper on his day. On his day, quality keeper. Off his day, concerning keeper. He can lose his head very quickly, a bit like Joe Hart, and that can really be scary for a manager when your keeper is having... I mean, I'm a Chelsea fan right now, so you can take my word on it that having a keeper that's having a bit of a wobbly is not the position you need to be in. So I'm keeping him in the squad for the reason being, and as I've said in my video that you may have seen on Thursday, if you follow my main channel layers, that although he's not our number one, I want him on the plane just because the fact he brings that wow factor. So if things are looking nervy or we need a world-class performance, he's the man that could bring one out necessarily, because when he has a worldie, he has a worldie. And for that reason, I give him the number 3 shirt behind Henderson and Pope. And the final player that we're questioning should they be in the squad, Kyle Walker. Not to question his quality is excellent, but people are questioning, are there other right-backs deserving of the spot? Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Reece James, you've got to consider these other options. Now, I think most would pick Trent as the number 1, but the number 2 right-back is up for debate. I'm a fan of Mason Holgate as an option as a centre-back, right-back kind of combo setup, playing in a utility role, and I would actually put him in my England squad. But Walker's a tough one. In the end, I give him the position. Reece James, I'm a huge fan of the lad, but he's young, I believe 20 years of age, so he's got plenty of time to improve. Walker brings that needed experience to the team in what is a young squad. I believe he'd be the second oldest player in the team, just behind Jordan Henderson, so I think a bit of experience is needed, and he's been in the England setup since, I believe, 2012, so if anyone can bring that age and experience, it's him. So for that reason, I back him up, and I'm pleased to see that he's still in Southgate's plans for the moment. And he can go to centre-back as well, which is a hugely useful asset for any manager. Now, for the 5 that haven't been picked, there's one that's hugely controversial. Now, we may see these guys later on, and it may be that Southgate is experimenting, but let's start off with Jack Grealish. Why on earth Southgate has not included him, I do not know, and it will be forever beyond me if Grealish doesn't make this England squad for the Euro 2021. He is a superb player, England's best attacking midfielder, and there is absolutely no reason why he should not be on the plane of planes as we fly across Europe for the upcoming tournament. And he needs England experience, so goddamn stick him in the squad. He needs to be there. There is no two ways about it. Get him in and don't take him out unless he flops or has an incident. But name number 1 isn't 100% in for me. Name number 2, Ben Chilwell. Again, should be in the squad. Now, they may just be experimenting, but I find the fact that not a single left-back was picked for the England squad very strange. And I can't think of a reason why you would do that. Surely you want one left-side defender. It just doesn't work out for me. You've got Chilwell as your comfortable number 1, but then you've got to question who's next. Is it Bukayo Saka? Is it Luke Shaw? Is it Brandon Williams? I don't know. So maybe if you don't want to take 2 left backs, I get that. But take 1. Stick 1 on the plane. Just stick 1 on the plane. It's not tough. It's not tough. So at least take 1. And Chilwell is obviously the man that takes that spot. Jordan Henderson, the man who in my eyes should be the captain and often is, should have been on there. I don't see why Henderson wasn't there. I understand you want to experiment Calvin Phillips, kick out Eric Dyer, kick out Harry Winks, or kick out Ward-Prowse. There's no way all three of them deserve to be there. Eric Dyer and Harry Winks are the two that I would personally cut. Ward-Prowse, if you want to try him out, take a shot. Personally not convinced, but each to their own. I think Oxlade-Chamberlain and Loftus-Cheek add more value than him. But Henderson needs to be in the squad at all times. He brings that experience like Walker and is needed 100%. Final two, we've got James Maddison. James Maddison is another one that should be in the team. He can play as a winger or a cam, hugely valuable as a utilities player, often likely to be off the bench impact due to the amount of depth that we have in that position right now, but I don't care. He needs to be in the squad. He's only got one England cap against Kosovo. He needs England experience if he's going to be ready for the tournament next summer, which he should be at as well, and there's no two ways about it. He needs to be on that plane. So it's 4 for 4 on players that missed out. The final one is a controversial one. Lewis Dunk. A lot of people saying Dunk should have been in the squad, and I agree with them. If you're going to stick Eric Dyer as a centre-back, I see no reason why Lewis Dunk, again, shouldn't take his spot. Dunk is a better defender. If you want to play him at CDM, I'd be surprised, but each their own. And I think as a consistent player, a bit like a Gary Cahill-esque, I see no reason why he doesn't deserve to be there. Would I take him on the plane? Not quite. I prefer Mason Holgate, so although I wouldn't take him, I can understand exactly why many would, and I think he does deserve opportunities in the next 12 months to prove his worth. So there you go, there are my 10 opinions on the 10 players that are currently kind of in the odds. Should they be in the team, should they not be in the team? I'm not going to talk Harry Maguire, I'm not getting into that. I think he should retain his captaincy and play, but that's just my opinion. And I don't want to dive too deep into where that is going, because it's looking messy. So, Ings in the squad, Phillips in the squad, Grealish, Chilwell, Henderson and Maddison all in the squad. Walker, I'm all for. Pickford and Dunk, I'm on the fence. And then Eric Dyer should not be in the squad whatsoever. So, we're going to move on to our final two sections now. Slightly shorter podcast today, probably going to be around the 30-minute mark. But we've got the best and the worst of football Twitter. Everybody's favourite place if you like to chat bollocks. Now, let's start off. 2 unpopular opinions I stand by in football. Number 1, a forward should never be captain. And number 2, a defender or keeper should never win the Ballon d'Or. Now, this opinion is going into directly the worst of football Twitter. Now, I kind of understand where you're coming from on both places. Yes, so the forwards can be the man that can tend to be a bit more selfish, not as much a team player. So I get that. But that doesn't mean there are any forwards. I think there are more likely to be defenders, keepers and midfielders that bring out that quality. And it's like you don't see many wingers as captains or fullbacks because they tend to be like hidden away in the side of a pit in the pitch. You want someone right in the middle, in the centre. But I think a forward can be that man. You think Wayne Rooney did a decent job. There's been others in the past. I see no reason why a striker can't bring the quality of a captain. If you possess the attitude and ability to be a captain, I see no reason why you shouldn't have the armband. And I see no reason why there aren't strikers out there that could hold it. I can give it to someone like an Olivier Giroud, for example. I could see him take an armband. I could see Marcus Rashford taking an armband in the future. He's a very vocal player. I think there are certainly with Jamie Vardy, I think there are men out there that could take an armband that certainly would deserve it. And some of them might already, I don't know precisely. Ronaldo can be a captain. There's plenty of captain material players who are forwards. I disagree with that completely. And the second one I disagree with even more. Keepers and defenders should never win the Ballon d'Or. My ass. There are some top defenders. Cannavaro, Ramos, Van Dijk currently. There is no reason why just because you're a defender or keeper, you shouldn't be able to win the Ballon d'Or. Yes, it's harder for them to win it. And I think the reason it's harder is because they're a unit. And the fact that they're a unit means that they're not one standout person. Forwards can be their standout person a lot easier. And that makes it difficult for them. But that doesn't mean that there is never say never situation. I think there are defenders. I lifted Ramos and Cannavaro, who obviously did, or one of them did win it. I think there's no reason why there aren't defenders and keepers that could go on and pick it up. Like a Neuer arguably could have won it at some stage. So there's no reason why I'd agree with either of them in the slightest. And they're unpopular and they're wrong, both of those opinions. But our second opinion of the day: if Lionel Messi joins Manchester City, my gut feeling is the Premier League will become one-sided. Now, I disagree with that. I think City may well move to Messi. Yes, Messi may well move to City, but I don't think that will destroy the Premier League. I think Messi is one man. He's not at his prime anymore. And I think if you're... if Messi isn't a 100 out of 100 player, Mo Salah is 93 out of 100, Sadio Mane is 94 out of 100. The players combined, one man cannot make all that impact, especially when it comes down to the final games and those small points. I see no reason why someone like a Salah or a Mane can't be the same big impact player that Messi can. Also, at the same time, it's an 11-man sport. If City's defence is wank, Messi is going to be able to do sod all about that. I mean, I don't know who they're playing at left back. Let's start there. Is it going to be Angelino? Is it going to be Mendy? Is it going to be Zinchenko? That's one weak spot. They need another centre-back, another weak spot. There are issues with the City team that need to be fixed. And Messi won't plug all of them. He'll be a big improvement, but he won't plug all the issues. Simple as. So, I think that's quite a simple one. I definitely don't think Messi will be able to stampede the Premier League. I mean, look, Ronaldo's joined Serie A, and Juve won by 1 point. So I don't believe that in the slightest, and I completely disagree. And then finally, our final bit of today's podcast, we've got prediction time. As there's nobody to do the quiz on, we're going to do predictions for today. I've got 3 games that we are highlighting over the next 7 to 8 days, and we're going to make our calls. First up, we have the Community Shield. It's Arsenal versus Liverpool. Now, I'd love to support Arsenal. That's fucking bullshit, Ross. That's fucking bullshit. We're going with Liverpool every day of the week. Liverpool team is better. The Liverpool team is stronger. I'm saying 3-0. I reckon Klopp won't put out a full team and he'll still manage to dominate the side completely. I think this could be a whitewash. I don't think Arsenal are prepared for what could be about to hit them. They've not had it's an exciting window. Liverpool haven't either, but Liverpool are just such a strong squad. I can't see this going anywhere other than a Liverpool victory pretty comfortably. Now, we're going to talk Nations League for the final bit of the podcast today. I've highlighted 2 games in particular, Germany and Spain, and England and Iceland. We'll start off with Germany versus Spain. I can't say I know a whole lot about their squads at the moment. Obviously, you've got Havertz, you've got Kroos, you've got Werner, Sane, so there are players I can think of, Gnabry. Damn, Germany front for you is actually pretty damn good now I think about it. Then in Spain, you've got Alvaro Morata is not the name that should sprung into my head first, but there's quality over there as well. Sergio Busquets is still kicking about. I was about to say David Silva, maybe still, but there's certainly quality in both countries that can be brought forward. I'm going to put my money on Germany, and I'm going to say a 2-0 victory to the Germans in this game. I think they probably have the edge. They also got the home advantage, so for that reason my money is there. And then our final game and our final bit of today's podcast, Iceland versus England. Come on, boy, you've got to take home a good victory here. I'm going to say 4-0 England. 4-0 England, I reckon, will put a solid performance. Yes, there's players that haven't always been on the pitch, but Iceland, they aren't what they were a few years back. They're going to drop off pretty quickly. They don't have that many options. Sigurdsson ain't in his prime. Finnbogason ain't in his prime. I think 4-0 England, comfy victory. Iceland have struggled as of recent, and hopefully we get 2020 off England style off to a very happy start. But that is all for today's podcast. If you have enjoyed, ladies and gents, do go and drop a sub. Any support is hugely appreciated by me. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, go leave a like and a comment down below, or hit me up on any of my social medias. Also, go subscribe to my main channel, and other than that, I'll see you next time. Peace!